Hi, my name is Madeline, and I'm here today to talk to you about ways in which you can decrease your skin picking behaviours. Now, why are we talking about skin picking? Well, I find that skin picking is a really interesting habitual behaviour to look at, and it's interesting to acknowledge that this is a problem that people worldwide deal with, and it affects more women than it does men, which I find really interesting. Now, when we talk about skin picking, we're talking about the forced removal of layers of skin. Now, this is often a means to reduce tension or to reduce stress, but it can also be used to facilitate some sensory needs during periods of boredom as well. So, it's important to note that I'm going to be talking about ways in which you can monitor your skin picking behavior, but also give you some strategies for the future to help decrease those skin picking moments. Okay? So, first and foremost, it's important to record your behaviors. Now, I'm not talking about doing homework for extended periods of time, but I am talking about recording when your behavior occurs during the day, the date, where the behavior occurs, who's around you when the behavior occurs, and what you're doing when the behavior occurs. Because if you're able to come up with a fairly thorough recording log of your behaviors and all of these factors, you'll be able to pretty quickly determine a pattern and see if there are some triggering scenarios or situations that precede your skin picking behaviors. So it's important to understand sort of what situations, what places, what people, what things might precede a skin picking behavior. So that's really important to note. It's also really important to note that we need to have an awareness of ourself and our body as a whole. Now, oftentimes, we don't pay attention to our bodies until the behavior happens. And it's really important to take time in your day to actually become at one with yourself and to find out what the minute trigger warnings are that your body is sending you that tells you that you're going to pick. So for some people, I've heard that they feel like a tension could be in their hands or their fingers or in the part of their body where they pick their skin off. Could also be restlessness. They could be touching themselves. So it's really important for you to take time to yourself and work out what your warning signs are and to see if you can identify them. Okay, and see if you can identify them before a picking incident happens, because that's a really great way to gain self-awareness. Now, the next part of this is quite practical in skin picking behaviors, is we want to decrease the temptation to pick our skin, because a lot of the time when we are tense or frustrated or anxious or even bored, picking at the skin can be quite relieving. Now, whether or not you use an implement to pick, and by an implement I mean a tool like a needle or a pin, scissors or a razor or something sharp, it's important to make sure that those temptations and those objects are out of the way as much as humanly possible. Okay, so if we don't have them around us, it's going to greatly decrease the likelihood of us picking our skin. For those people who pick using their nails or another part of their body, it's really important to cut the nails and keep them short. But if you are someone who does like to have long nails, my recommendation would be to go to a nail salon and possibly get acrylic nails with blunted tips at the end, because it is quite hard to engage in skin picking behavior when you've got blunt, thick nails there. So that's something that we can think about. But jumping into some strategies, the thing that we need to think about is we want to find something that is discreet, that we can do in lots of different places, especially around different people if we're engaging in the behavior or tempted to engage at work or at school, okay, or other gatherings with other people. And we want to make sure that it's accessible. We want to make sure that we can bring it to all of these places, okay? So what I've seen some really cool uses for blue tack or plasticine. People have a small ball and they just sort of manipulate it with their fingers, or they can put their nails in it. I've also seen people engage in having a wristband or an elastic band around their wrist, and they snap it when they're feeling that tension or that urge. I've also witnessed people using string and wrapping that around their fingers or their hands. It's really up to you to work out what works for you. You need to find something that's going to hold your attention and act as a bit of a distractor tool from the urge to pick. So play around with different things, look around your home and see what you can use, because we don't want to be spending money on these things if we can avoid it. Find something small, something accessible, and something that is going to hold your attention and help you release that tension, okay? If that's what you're feeling. Now, something that I've also seen that I really like for tension release as well is people often give themselves like little massages in places where they do feel a little bit tense. I find a good knuckle maybe to the hand or knuckle to another part of the body which is a bit stiff can also help to relieve that tension. Engaging in breathing techniques could also be another way in which you can calm down and maybe gain some awareness, okay, and a bit of inner stability. One of the positive breathing techniques I have seen is the in for 3 and out for 4 method, where you breathe in for 3 seconds and then breathe out for 4 seconds. That's something really discreet that we can use. But moving on from that, the last thing that I think we really need to address and you need to take into consideration when starting your decreased journey is to involve other people in your journey. Okay, it's really important to have social supports around you, people who love you and care about you to help you along your journey. Positive reinforcement, positive comments and praise are so helpful and so encouraging. And it makes the journey so much easier when you have people around you who are cheering you on and are asking about how you're going and how you're feeling. If you feel comfortable, you might be willing to show them your progress and say, hey, this is what my skin was like, 5 days ago, but this is what it's like now. It's really positive to be able to have other people in your journey and to have them on your side. Those are my recommendations for skin picking behaviours. I really hope that this has been helpful. Please leave a comment down below if you found this video helpful, or if you have come up with other strategies, or if you want to tell me what your story is. I'd love to hear it. I hope that this has been informative and have a lovely day. Bye.